What is the most important decision you will ever make? Welcome to the Overcome Depression podcast. The tools you learn here can make depression a part of your past, allow healing regardless of your present circumstances, and offer hope for your future. I am your host, Jennifer Stirling-Campbell. The most important decision you will ever make is the decision to decide. Decision literally, if you look at the definition, means to cut off. So essentially, when we decide something, we are cutting off all other options except for the object of our decision. There is absolutely massive power behind that. In fact, Ralph Waldo Emerson once said that when we make a decision, the universe conspires with us to make it happen, which I have found to be true, honestly. Today and every day, as you are going through this program, I want you to make the decision that you are going to overcome depression, that you are going to find joy and happiness. Cut off all the other options, the option of being miserable for the rest of your life, the option of being sick for the rest of your life. We're deciding right now that that is not your future. Benjamin Hardy talks a lot about being your future self now in his book, Be Your Future Self Now. It's actually a really good read. I recommend all of his books. He's a psychologist. He has an excellent YouTube channel. I'll link that in the description as well. Very good motivational speaker. Zig Ziglar was also an amazing motivational speaker. He said, you've got to be before you can do and do before you can have. More on that later. But back to Benjamin. Benjamin Hardy talks a lot about the psychology that a lot of therapists still work on is the past, like identifying with our past and working on the past to change our current self. It is his theory and the theory of some other psychologists that he has read, studied, that it is the study or the being able to see your future self as something else and having that hope and that goal and being able to see the future in your mind of this is what I want, this is what I'm going to be, that determines your actions now rather than your past determining your actions now. So it's kind of like either being acted upon, whereas, oh, well, my past, I have trauma in my past, blah, 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 and then letting that affect you or having the reactions. And a lot of us don't even know what happened to us in our past. Let's be honest. A lot of those things are reactionary. However, if you can see yourself and feel yourself in a different future and believe in that future enough, you start to act accordingly. Essentially, you can be your future self now. You can be and then do the things that will allow you to have what you want. Most of us kind of do it out of order, which in this program, I will ask you to do some things and that will help you to become. But the fastest and best way to becoming the person you want to be, overcoming depression, having more joy in your life, is acting the part. Essentially, sometimes it's pretending, imagining. Imagination is absolutely powerful. I personally believe that everything is created spiritually before it is created physically. So anytime we are using our minds, this is an absolutely sacred space that we really need to be protecting and asking anything that is not sacred to leave immediately as soon as it enters our mind, because the mind really does have the ability to create physical things in our reality simply from a thought. It begins with a thought. Everything is created twice, first in your mind and then in the physical world. And so if we protect that space and we guard that space in a way that's healthy, and we invite the light in and we escort the darkness out. There may be darkness hidden in there, and I know there is. I find things in myself consistently that I'm like, ooh, that's still there? We need to go. That needs to go now. These things that are kind of like an unwanted guest, like depression. We don't have to identify with it. I hope that you don't say, I have blank. I have something not good, because I don't want you to identify that. Starting now, you are not going to say the words, I have D word. We're not going to even say it. We're going to say, I am feeling depressed, if that's the case, or I am struggling with depression. We want to get rid of that identity and build something else. And if you can see yourself as something else, which is sometimes kind of sometimes kind of hard to do when you're feeling depressed, because the idea is that you need to get yourself to a different space. And that's why meditation can be so powerful, because it can get you to feel what is necessary to change. And again, a lot of us kind of do the system backwards, where we're doing in order to become something and then have what we want. But again, the best way is to be right now. Act the part. See what you want in the future, and then act accordingly. Easier said than done, especially for those who struggle with the mental disorders and the depression. I know that for a fact, which is why these small and simple things that I will be introducing to you in the program are designed to slowly and steadily help you to make incremental changes, so that you can be that person who can then really do things to make massive differences and then have everything we ever desired. Literally, like the sky is the limit. So I'm going to give you a challenge, and I hope you'll accept it if you are ready. I would encourage you to do this every day for the next 21 to 30 days, and more if you want to. But essentially what this requires is for you to get out a sheet of paper, one a day, split it in half with a pencil, just draw a line on it, and on the left-hand side, you're going to write down a bunch of adjectives that describe the way you feel about yourself that maybe aren't very good. Just being completely honest, just kind of like throw it all up on this paper. Gross, like just blah, all of it. Anything that comes to your mind. On the other side of the paper, and you want to make this side a little bigger because you're going to need a little more room, but you want to refute the lie. And I want to make this clear. I think some people say, well, but it's not a lie, it's true. I am this way. Okay, but is that really your eternal divine identity? Is that what you want? Is that what you're choosing today to make your identity for the rest of your life? Well, no. Okay, well, then we're going to refute that lie, because that is not who you are. That is who you've been before. That's what you've chosen before. That's what you've reacted as before. But today, we're choosing something else. So, for example, if you wrote the word, I hate saying this out loud, but let's just say you wrote the word stupid on the left-hand side of the paper. On the right-hand side of the paper, you're going to write, I am smart, or I am intelligent, or I'm brilliant, I'm a genius. You can go really big with it. And then you're going to write one other compliment to yourself, even if it's not something you are, that you have been, but you're saying, I'm going to be this moving forward. I'm going to envision this moving forward. I'm going to imagine this moving forward. So I am smart, and I am beautiful. And I want to say, from my past, when I was younger, I thought I was ugly. And looking back on pictures of myself, back when I was depressed, I didn't radiate. I wasn't bright and shiny. I really wasn't that pretty, just simply because I was so depressed. And it showed in my face and in my posture and in my body. But I think I'm pretty now. I'm very happy with the way I look. My posture's improved as my health has improved. I love myself. So even if you're like, well, I can't change the way I look, well, yeah, you can actually, because as your demeanor changes and the light in your eyes starts to shine, you will look different. You will be more and more beautiful as you heal. And you're beautiful now. But as far as it shining through like that, it doesn't even matter what body you were given. You can be absolutely stunningly beautiful. So you're going to do that down the chart. So you could just make your list and then refute all of the lies that you wrote on the left side of the paper with truths that right as of now I am claiming these truths on the right side of the paper. And you're going to tear off the left hand side. Be careful. Try not to tear your right side. And then rip it up into shreds, little tiny pieces, throw it away. If you want to go really big with it, you can build a little fire and burn them if you like. But essentially, you're destroying these past parts of you that you are saying, I appreciate what you had to teach me, but and I don't want that anymore. And then you're going to take that right side of the paper and you're going to imagine in your mind that you have a sword. And it helps a lot if you actually have something to hang on to. So a butter knife or a pencil, something that you can act the part. And maybe you have a legitimate, awesome sword in your house. Like that would be cool. Just be careful when wielding whatever it is in your hand that you don't hurt somebody with it. So you're going to look at this sheet of paper with your affirmations on it. And the most important thing about this exercise is that you feel with every part of your being, and it might not come at first, but try to feel the emotion behind what you're saying. You have to mean it. Say it like you mean it. If you just say, oh, I'm smart and beautiful, it's really not going to do much for you. You really do have to fight for this. This is a fight. You're fighting for your identity. You're fighting for your joy here. So as you hold that pencil in the air, you're going to shout, I am smart and I am beautiful. And you feel it. You feel that radiating through your body, that warmth of, yes, that is who I am. And you go through your list and you read these things off. If it's embarrassing to you or hard to find a place that's private, I get it. Do the best you can. And maybe you can find a park or something, or I really don't know. But you'll get the most out of it if you shout it out and you really put some acting behind it. Like you've got to be a Shakespearean actor here. So if you are willing to make that list, and then you can make a new one every day if you want. Tear up the left and shout at the right, or you could just focus on that one page if you want to just go to that much effort. That's fine. But I would do it every day, and I would suggest you do it actually twice a day if you can. More is even better, but at least once a day. So if you're willing to accept that challenge, I want to hear how it's working for you. It will take a little while, but you should start to feel a little bit better. Walk a little bit taller after about 3 weeks maybe. Might feel it right away. Who knows? So I have another quote for you. His name, or it's from Raymond Grace. And he says, when people ask me why I do anything, I have 3 answers. It needed to be done. I could, and I wanted to. We have a choice. We do something, or we do nothing. And I would like to challenge you to do something today. I do want to read a story. It's actually a pretty common story by Gordon B. Hinckley. If you're familiar with him, you might have heard it already. If not, maybe this will be a new one for you. But he says, one morning, I received a call from my counterpart in Newark, New Jersey. He said, train number such and such has arrived, but it has no baggage car. Somewhere, 300 passengers have lost their baggage, and they are really angry. I went immediately to work to find out where it may have gone. I found it had been properly loaded and properly trained in Oakland, California. It had been moved to our railroad in Salt Lake City, been carried to Denver, down to Pueblo, put on another line, and moved to St. Louis. There it had been handled by another railroad, which would take it to Newark, New Jersey. But some thoughtless switchman in the St. Louis yard moved a small piece of steel, just 3 inches, a switch point, then pulled the lever to uncouple the car. We discovered that a baggage car that belonged in Newark, New Jersey, was in fact in New Orleans, Louisiana, 1,500 miles from its destination. And the point of this story is to illustrate that just that small, tiny movement of that switch that deterred that car in another direction made all of the difference. In this case, it ended up way off of where it should have been. In the case of you and me right now, these small decisions can make all of the difference for you. Where you maybe have been headed one direction, all it takes is that small incremental decision. You could be off in another direction, headed towards a much more beautiful place. And it really could make all of the difference for you. So I hope you take that to heart. This is a true principle. I do want to make the point that doing is important. It's important to move forward, do the things, do things that will help you. I can honestly say that when I was terribly depressed and struggling, if I had not chosen to do my best, and I think most people are, I think I'd be in a much different place than I am now. I think that I essentially was treading water, and I chose to keep kicking, and I didn't fully drown, but eventually you've got to get out of the water, or you eventually will run out of strength or willpower, and there's none left. It's the willpower will only take you so far. And so that's why it's so important to get to a point where your reactions become responses, that we reprogram the chemicals in your brain, the chemical processes in your brain, so that you can not have to fight so hard. And we will get you there. That is the goal. To overcome, the dictionary definition is to defeat another in a competition or conflict. To deal with successfully, prevail over, or surmount. To overpower as with emotion, and to affect deeply. It is my prayer that we can overcome these adversities, chronic depression, anxiety, mental distress, the struggles you are having of any kind, that we can work through these together and let them go, so that you can thrive and have a life of joy. I am your host, Jennifer Stirling-Campbell, and this is the Overcome Depression program. If you are new to this podcast, please go watch all of the hashtag introduction videos first, and then consider downloading the Overcome Depression workbook. Links in the description. The content in this podcast is based on my own personal beliefs, is for informational purposes only, and is not intended to substitute for medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Please refer to the full legal disclaimer in the description.